Hi there, you're listening to Hillside Talks, a podcast for everyone. If you enjoy it, please tell your family and friends. If you don't, maybe try the next one. Hi everybody, welcome back to Hillside Talks, our podcast, and today we are welcoming Faye Kenny from Boomchikkaboom. It's an amazing family events company, and I'm quite excited to talk to you and share with you all the work that they do. So Faye, can you tell us a little bit of background about Boomchikkaboom, what it is, what you do?
Where to begin?
Yeah.
The background of how we started, I guess, to rewind, I had my son who's now 10, and after I had him, I was going to different music classes and different groups because I didn't have many friends who had children at the same time as me. So obviously it's quite not a lonely place, but you want to get out and socialise and stuff like that. So I'm into music anyway, so I thought, let's get into music, let's go to different things, and everything that I went to was very stale, a bit harsh, but like old school. Yeah. Everybody has to sit in a circle and stay in the circle.
And
it was a bit cliquey as well, so I'd go to things and there'd definitely be like sets of mums that had attended together, and then there'd be me, and I'd be like, hi, and I just felt like a bit of an outsider.
Right.
I found it quite difficult to sort of make friends, I guess. Like, I'd be thinking, how are they friends with each other, and they've all come to this together, that's nice, but I don't have that. That mixed with a conversation that I had with my brother at the time. He was saying, you should do something for babies, like, because I'd worked in schools beforehand anyway, you should do something with babies. And I'm thinking, I don't really know what I could do. As just a one-off, not anything to be a job or make money or anything like that, as just sort of a project to do whilst I was on maternity, I guess. I hosted a one-off event and got my brother's friend to design a leaflet for it, and it was like a baby in the belly with a pair of shell-toe Adidas, and the umbilical cord was attached to a microphone, and he had a cap on. Just so straight away it was different. I wanted it to be something completely different to anything that I'd been to or seen before. So we called it Baby Rave, had that on the leaflet, and of course I had no really friends who had babies at the time and stuff, so I just posted it on my personal Facebook page and asked people to share it, and literally within a week it was full already, so I'm like, oh, okay. And I wrote in everyone, so my grandma got material and she sewed it all so we could tape it to the floor, so that's what people would sit on. My friend was a cheerleader at Leeds Rhinos, so we borrowed the Leeds Rhinos pom-poms.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to think what else we had going on. I'd hired in some soft play, no, I didn't hire in actually, that's a lie. I bought some disco lights.
Oh, did you?
And then I returned them afterwards.
Okay, wow. Okay.
But yeah, so I've got all these things to sort of make it work, and everybody was like, so what are you going to do there? And I'm thinking,
what was the space that you used?
It was Seven Arts, which is like a small theatre sort of box studio space. Okay. So it's quite a decent sized space, and it was all black. How many
could you have there? Did you have anything?
I think I had about 40 little ones there, with their grown-ups, of course. But I've always just been a blagger, like in whatever I'm doing. I don't really plan things. I was working in schools beforehand, and I'd be like, Faye, can you do a workshop on African dance? And I'd be like, sure. And then I'd be on like YouTube and work it out, and I'd end up being, I'd be able to deliver this workshop with ease. So at the time I'm thinking, I actually have no idea what I'm going to do here, but I'll make it work.
Were you nervous?
Yes.
Coming up to it, yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous because, but the energy was really high because everybody was like, what is it? And I thought, who knows? We're literally going to invent this on the spot, but we're just going to create a vibe that's different to anything else. Yeah. And I think that's what was important to me, that it was just something fresh and that nobody had done before, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I got the playlist, and my brother's a musician, so we went through all the playlists and made sure it was, you know, really eclectic. So they had like all the current tunes and then like some old school anthems, and mix it with some world music. I wanted it all, you know, different. And I blagged it, got through the whole thing, and was like, had the feedback at the end and asked people to sort of write down the feedback and put it in like a box or whatever. And I was so nervous. I was like, oh God, people are going to be like, what?
What was it like when they arrived? People arrived, you put your music on, you had your lights going. What did it feel like?
It was just like adrenaline, I guess, like of, okay, people are here, and I recognised some people as well, so it was like seeing them. And we got my sister's friend in Upsy Daisy. I got one of those costumes. I drove miles to go and pick up this costume so it would be cheaper, and got back probably spending about £500 in fuel at the time. And then we got her in the costume, and she's got massive boobs. So we had like this Upsy Daisy costume with huge boobs, and it was just a really nice energy. Like my family was there, and friends were all there to help out, and everybody sort of worked together to just create a really nice energy, and that wasn't everybody sit in a circle. Now everybody be quiet because now we're gonna sing this song. It was just whatever goes.
So was it literally free flow? You provided the space and what it looked like in terms of the music, and you'd thought through all that. But what happened? The content of that session literally was led.
And then so it was all free flow, and then I led a session within that, which I just made up on the spot, and it's pretty much same. I do make it on the spot now still, because I just go with the flow. With children, even to this day, like with children, it's hard to have a plan. If you write out what you're gonna do, and then you'll come in front of a group of children of any age, and your plan goes out of the window immediately from one little thing. So I think it's really important for us when we're delivering sessions in whatever setting it is that we're able to literally draw from whatever energy's in the room and just go with the flow. So I think at the time we got the pom-poms, got everybody dancing with that. We did some singing. I remembered different songs that I'd learned at drama school and stuff like that, so I tried to implement them in as well as doing nursery rhymes that people already knew and they feel comfortable singing. I also wanted to do something different with them and be like, oh, we've got to sing something else now, I don't know this one. So just mixing it up, and then we all did a dance routine and stuff at the end. And
so your feedback?
Yes, it was all, everybody was like, that's what I was most nervous about, anybody saying anything negative about it. But all of it was like overwhelmingly positive, like charge more, do it bigger, make it weekly, this, that and the other. So I'm like, oh, okay.
So that's it, it was born.
So then I was like, okay, I could do another one. And a family friend had not a nightclub, it's like a live music venue, but a big one. So it's like an old warehouse sort of building. And so I approached him and said, can I do a baby rave in, it's called Vox now. And he was like, well, yeah, okay. And like, he went with the flow just as much, so I was grateful for that, and yes, it was just a huge warehouse space, which was going to be significantly more work, more people to pull off. But we did it again, and again within a week, all the tickets had gone again. So I'm like, oh, this could make money really if I work smartly about it. So I had no money, to put into this as setting up a business, or nor did I have any intention of getting a loan or anything like that. I'd been to university and got student loans and stuff. I thought, no, I'm not. I don't want any more to add on. So I tried to work strategically. So I'd do one event, and then whatever profit I made from that one, I'd buy a bit of equipment, and then each time
built on it.
I just ended up with like more and more equipment. I had nowhere to store it, so my grandma, bless her, she boarded out I used to use her spare rooms, like all the wardrobes and stuff, so I'd have like soft play shapes in each of the wardrobes, and then she boarded out the attic, so I could put stuff up there as well. and I'd just get like different things each time and just add to what we had. And then we tried doing different themed events. It was more of a monthly sort of thing, until eventually I was able to have like a set amount of equipment that could carry me into doing different stuff. So we ended up doing birthday parties and then doing them on a smaller scale. So Mothercare at Crown Point in Leeds had a studio space upstairs called Mum Space, and a lady who works there, she'd said, do you think you could do like a mini rave? And I was like, not really, because in my head it was that's how it was a big event. And then I thought about it and I thought, actually, I could do that. I just have to scale it all down and it would be easier, I guess. I'd need less stuff. So I did them there. And I think as well, some parents might have felt overwhelmed when you went big. Oh yeah, definitely. For me, looking at what you've done, that made you stand out. It was so unique, but it was so wow. And some parents might have been a bit, some children might have been. But to be able to, narrow it down and deliver it to a smaller group must have opened, opportunities to a lot more families as well. Definitely, yeah.
When you said Baby Rave, is that what you were at the beginning? Yeah. Are you the founder of Baby Rave? Because I remember Baby Rave, obviously we have the children's nurseries, we've got loads of families who attend groups, I've had children myself, and Baby Rave, I'd never heard anything like it. And it were you, and then you did Boomchikkaboom, but I remember thinking, this is the most amazing idea, hats off, absolutely brilliant. But I only ever remember seeing you that were Baby Rave.
Yeah, there was a couple other companies. There was one called, I can't remember the name of it now, but it used to go to Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Right.
So they had a similar sort of concept, and now there's loads. So if you look around now, there's a lot of companies doing the same thing of a baby rave, family rave concept. However, I've never attended any of them, but I know people who have. And they seem to cater for the adults. Okay. And the children come along for the ride, sort of thing. Okay. Whereas we cater for the children, but the adults come along for the ride.
Enjoy it.
And so
because of what you
that's I think what makes us different. So although the whole club experience of like boom 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 is great, it also to me, if it's for children, it needs to be for them as well. So I think that's what sets us apart. We were definitely one of the first people doing that sort of thing.
I think so.
But definitely our concept, I don't think or I'm aware of anybody does it like us.
Okay.
There's definitely no one who does it like us, should I say?
Definitely not. No, not at all. So you started doing smaller groups that you looked at. That was the one with the big tree. Is it not there? Mothercare's not there now.
Mothercare is a whole Home Bargains now. Is it Home Bargains? I think it is.
Okay,
Sometimes.
Yeah,
there was the tree lift.
Yeah, I remember that. I think when I had Tommy. So you did a smaller group there. Like a weekly thing, and then just started.
I think we were there twice a week, and we'd be doing like back-to-back ones. So some days we'd have 4 or 5 all squished together. Everybody out, everybody reset, everybody in. So it was.
And when you did your groups, like when you did the big groups, I'm just trying to, us and doing what we do, where I'm thinking the amount of children and families you've got in one space. How did you manage it? If you had children that were maybe, so confident and boisterous, and then you've got your quieter children, how did you pitch it to everybody and manage that?
I think that's mine and the team that work with at Boomchikkaboom, our superpower. So that way we can just read the room and be like, okay, this person's into it. This person isn't. Even grown-ups.
I love that.
Even grown-ups. So even at an event, I can do an event today and people walk through the room and I'm checking people in and I just read the vibe straight away. And there's just different energies that come into the room and they're not always...
No, they're not.
Because a lot of them are new mums, so some of them are coming in, they've had no sleep, they've probably had whatever going on in their life. Everyone's coming in with a different energy and that's what's difficult, but our superpower. So if we'll see people coming in and we kind of read the energy and we're like, okay, that person's straight off the bat, like they're coming in like hi.
Yeah.
Okay, hi. What's your name? What are you? Blah, blah, blah. And you'll check them in. Okay, and they're like, so what do we do? What do we do then? And we have that. Not a lot, but we do have that. And I think that's important to me, that they leave the room, even if it's 1% in a brighter mood or in a better space, than when they arrived. Then we've done our job. So it's not always the children that create the vibe, it's the grown-ups as well. Really, so when we're doing something and we're like, okay, we're all gonna, we're in a circle, we have a freestyle dance-off battle, and we'll have all the grown-ups just... We stop the music and we're like, okay, we'll reassess this, we're gonna do it again, because the children aren't gonna dance if you're not into it as well. Yeah. And sometimes it's awkward, but we make fun of it and make light out of it, and hopefully get everybody involved and take people out of their comfort zone a little bit as well, because sometimes if you're going to something on your own and you doing some sing a song or get in the middle and dance, like what? We do it at home. Everybody does it at home. In the space of their own four walls or whatever. But I just think reading the room, reading the whole vibe, whether it's from a little toddler that's having an absolute tantrum over here to someone over here who's just going wild, like, we'll put the bubble machine on, come look at these bubbles quickly before we get started, and just sort of making sure that everybody is as happy as we can possibly help it be. Same with like we do a lot of birthday parties and stuff, and you can come and it's the birthday child and they're just like not feeling it. Like, my mum and dad have created this whole birthday party and I don't want to be here. So then that's our job to make sure that they have a great time. Okay, what should we do? Like, what's your plan? What would you like to do? I'd like to do this. Right, let's do it then.
That's brilliant, because I think we're all about catering for children. We're all different, just the same as adults are. I wouldn't like it if I went into a space and I was forced to join in on an activity that wasn't rocking my boat. And that's what we apply to our daycare. Everybody's different, it has to be open-ended, and we've got to see the quieter children, the children that are struggling, the mum that's struggling because she might be, like you say, I've had no sleep, and don't know what's going on in people's lives. So I love that about your events, that you've just got this open-ended approach. You provide the space and the lovely resources, the equipment, the lights, the music, but what happens will be different every single week, because your children and your groups are different, and that's so right for now. We need to just do that all the time, in all, schools, in every walk of life, and I think that sounds really, really perfect. Really good.
Definitely. I like it when we have venues as well that have got like a bit of a breakout space, or just somewhere where people can watch from the distance. So you
can't be asked to
so you notice that people are a bit like, whether it's the adults or the children, we can let them know and just say, just so you know, there's that little space there where our things are. You're more than welcome to go and sit over there and just feel free to engage and join in your own way whenever you feel comfortable. Definitely. I always wanted it to be informal, because I just hate the idea of children being told to do this thing and everyone's got to do it at the same time. Everyone's got to sit in this circle on this spot and nobody can move, and we're all going to have fun.
Oh, it's true. It's so true. My eldest, he always says, I don't like organised fun. And it's organised chaos. Is it? Exactly. There's a difference. You can't force people to enjoy themselves.
No.
They've got to find out what their vibe is. And what
definitely.
Like.
It's catching the vibe.
Yeah, defo. So when you did your baby raves, you did the big scale organised stuff, then you did your smaller groups. When did you become Boomchikkaboom, and what is the story there?
Okay, so as Zaya, my eldest, got older, he's no longer a baby.
Yes.
And then we'd also have the people that sort of started with us from being a baby, and they're a bit older now, but they're not a baby. So then we'd have people looking at pictures and stuff and being like, so is it just for babies then? And then as he grew as well, I basically just take all my inspiration from him and being like, I'd do like different events. So we do like the messy play stuff. I love going to the cinema, but then I'd feel really awkward going to the cinema with like a toddler running around. They had baby cinema situations, but nothing for in between.
Yeah.
So I'd always find ways of being like, okay, there's nothing like that going on. Let's create a cinema event where any age can come, and if they're walking around whilst the film's on, it's not the end of the world.
Right. Okay.
So I've sort of found gaps within the market that needed filling, should I say? And as I started to do different things as well as the raves, I thought it can't be called baby rave anymore. It needs to be something
evolved.
Yeah, and I didn't, and I thought like there's no branding like with the company, so it turned into like a full-time job by then.
Yeah.
But then the brand just wasn't strong enough. We didn't have like brand colours and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, let's start fresh, and we do a call and response song within the rave, so it's say Boomchikkaboom, Boomchikkaboom. And so I thought if I change it to Boomchikkaboom, it's different. It means we can do anything under that umbrella.
Yeah.
But also people should recognise it if they've been to us before, because they always say that. Yeah. So that's how the name Boomchikkaboom came about.
Right, okay. So what things have you done more recently? So if you started 10 years ago, what does it look like now in comparison? Completely different about?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few different things going on. So we have a lot of work experience students working with us, and they always follow us afterwards, and I get them to come and help out with different events and stuff. And I was looking for a new storage unit because mine was being turned into flats. And one of the girls who did work experience with me was like, oh, my dad's got some industrial units. Do you want me to arrange so you can go and have a look at them? So I was like, oh, amazing. Yeah, that'd be great. So I rocked up, and it was an actual like my storage unit was like this sort of space.
A large
garage. A large garage, yeah. A small garage, what I had before, but I needed a large garage, let's say. And I pulled up and I'm like, girl, this is a whole industrial like unit, like huge. So I went in and I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. So he showed me around and I'm thinking, oh God, I've wasted this man's time. Like I don't have this much stuff. So I was walking around, there was like all these different spaces and I'm like, I absolutely love it, it's amazing. But I was just looking for a storage space, and he was like, oh, we can cut off this bit and we can make it this size. So I'm like, okay, so there are options. And I was like, I would love to have a space like this though to do events. And he was like, well, why wouldn't you then? And I was like, because I can't afford to do that, like sort of thing. And he was like, do you think people would come to an industrial estate for something like that? And I was like, well, a lot of soft play places are actually industrial estates. And so anyway, I went away with the mind of, okay, I might have that as a storage unit, and then it just kept like in my brain. And then at the time there was a restaurant in Leeds that had done a crowdfunder, Manjeet's Kitchen, and she was opening a new restaurant, and you could pledge, I don't know, £10 now, and then you got a meal once the restaurant opened. And I thought that's such a good idea, rather than being like, everyone give me some money and I'm going to make this business. It would be like, everyone give me some of your money and you can get something when everything is up and running. And I thought that's such a good idea. I wonder if I could do that. And then I'm like, Dad, what do you think? Asking everybody what they think. And then in the end I just thought, let's just go for it.
You've got to.
So we did
that. And if you don't feel nervous, it's probably not worth it. If you've got that bubble, that, you'd already proved how accessible and how well attended your events were, well liked they were. And
then I thought, okay, it's not going to be Boomchikkaboom though. It's going to be something different that I do Boomchikkaboom in. So I wanted a blank canvas. So as somebody looking for events, looking for venues to hold events, it was quite difficult in Leeds to find spaces basically. So I thought if I create a space where other people can use it for anything, that would be even more amazing. Project, of course. I'm not going to be in there all the time, so this space needs to be used to pay for it. So it needed a lot of work doing.
And now I think I remember on your socials, were it just family? You were literally all painting on a night, and I've been there and done it. Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was such a good, that was the best part of any of it. So it was like we'd have like this floor cleaner thing. We didn't know how, we hired this floor cleaner, we didn't know how it worked. So we literally running this thing. We got scaffolding in, and we were at the top. Now this industrial unit was a tall building, so you couldn't reach it with ladders. You needed like the full, and we were like at the top of this, and it was wobbling. And in my head I'm thinking, I'm gonna die here. Yeah, this is gonna be the end. It was really risky business. Scraping floors, there was just everything needed redoing. My partner, luckily, he's an electrician and just an all-round great person of fixing up things and building things and doing stuff. I've got my uncle Danny and cousin who are roofers, my dad an electrician. My dad was like the godsend of it all, because he knew what needed doing. He'd be like, that looks rubbish, that needs doing. So it needed all new electrics, fire alarm, everything needs to be new. We had a cafe space, a toilet we needed to put in. And just so many people helped us out that I'll just be forever grateful for. They're amazing.
It feels amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone pulls together.
And so many people pledged as well. So we got like all that money from people pledging, because they were like, yes, this is what we need. This is what we need. Yeah. And then so that was amazing. And that within that time, right in the middle of it, when my dad was there fixing it up, he had a cardiac arrest. So that was just like. It was a wild time. So literally for a month everything just shut down. Stopped. He was in hospital. We were there, like the whole family just stayed there the whole time. And you just realise that like none of that matters. Yeah. So literally everything stopped. But during that time as well, I had my friend Rachel, who was going to do the cafe side of things there. She was going down, getting other people to go down. So whilst I just didn't even think about that, it was still still things were happening, which was amazing. And then when my dad finally came round, he'd got a notebook and he was trying to remember things because they were worried about his brain. But he was like writing down notes and remembered.
Not about your work.
About
about the rewiring.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, this, and there's like, I've still got the book of like the things that he'd like jotted down. I'm like, oh gosh. So then eventually, everything came good, and then everything was finished, and we had and it was just the launch party just made it even more special that my dad was there, but no one knew. Any of that had been going on, no one knew that.
I think with any, hard work journey, people don't know how hard it is anyway. They don't know always the work that goes on, the sleepless nights, the stress, the financial worries, the trying to raise your children.
Yeah. They just see the top of the iceberg.
Yeah, absolutely. But to throw into the mix that your precious dad was so poorly, were a key player in it all, that is a lot. So that launch must have gone off.
Yeah.
Imagine it being amazing.
Yeah, no, it was really special, and just to have him there, because didn't think he was going to be there. So so many different things go through your mind at the time, but so that made it even more special to make it work and make it amazing, because he'd obviously done so much work in the background of it all. So that was great. The space was great. We were doing lots of different things there. And we'd got through the winter. You thought the bills are high now for gas and electric.
For an industrial unit of the pretty.
Yeah. And because we just needed it to be warm all the time. We had to have the heating on all the time. We had to have the heating on overnight. If the heating wasn't working, we had to hire in these big blaster things that cost a fortune. And then literally just as the weather was starting to turn up a little bit, we were like literally smashing out birthday party after birthday party and event after event. The weather was starting to be nice, so now we're like, okay, we can save a bit of money on gas and electric here. Now we're going to start to see some profit. And then there was a global pandemic.
Yeah, and then COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, it just annihilated us, didn't it?
Yeah.
I was heartbroken because I saw that as well. I think I messaged you because that, was everybody's worst fear, to be in business and we didn't know what was going to happen. But hospitality and events and things like that, it just was horrendous for you.
Yeah. And it was
just not being in business long enough to get any of the grants I qualify for.
Yeah, so like
relief and things.
It was we got the rates relief and stuff like that, so that was
helped.
A lifesaver. Okay. Otherwise, yeah. And then luckily as well, we'd got an organisation in Leeds called Black Health Initiative. They'd got some funding to put on like a summer school project, and she was like, "Oh, could you do this?" And I'm like, "Yes." And that basically paid for the rent. Because we could only have 15 children, and that's it. So if we were to get people to pay for that project,
because of the guidance, you could only because I'm going to say you're used to having your big numbers.
Yeah, so we could only have 15 children, and that only blocked, like, so we couldn't have 15 at this time and then another 50. It had to be just 15, and we had them for, I can't remember how it was, a certain period through the 6-week holidays, which was really lovely to just engage with other children. Like we'd only had our own, like, at the time. And it was just really lovely for them to see them sort of go from being like coming in and it being an awkward situation, like someone just coughed, did you see them just cough, to just being like having a really nice time and thriving. So that was great. So that sort of carried us through a good chunk of time, but then it was just like a up and down roller coaster of, are you allowed to do events? No, you're not. Can we do illegal events? No, it's probably not the best option. And we had so many people like, can you do a bit? And I was like, I can, I cannot, and I'm not ruining the name.
No matter what your thoughts and personal beliefs, like, no,
it doesn't matter. So I made the decision that I needed to leave the building. And cut ties. Otherwise, I don't really get stressed out easily about things. Like, I like things to be easy and chilled out, but at that time I was like,
it was affecting you.
Like money's just going down and down and down, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be broke and have this huge building and keep just being in, I'm not getting in debt for anything. So so I made the decision to leave, which at the time I was like disappointed, obviously, in the situation, but it's something that nobody could control.
They couldn't, and so many others did that, and it was soul destroying, you know, but you didn't have a choice.
No, but I also did feel like a huge sense of pride of what we'd done, even with it being a short space of time, and everyone was like, oh, I feel so sad, and I'm like, I don't feel sad, so you don't feel sad. Like the initial at the start, that felt sad, like, oh, I don't want to leave this, but then looking back, obviously that was the best decision, because I think it would have been really difficult roller coaster ride to keep going through that whole time of not being able to do anything.
I remember it when it all first happened, with the COVID and the lockdown, and I remember thinking, right, okay, 3 to 6 months we'll be through this. 3 to 6 months will be fine.
And then summer will be fine. Christmas.
I mean, we're still going. We're still feeling it. You know, it has been, nobody knew. So would it have been right to have gone, we can do this, when it starts affecting your health, your mental health and your family life, is it worth it? You know, you've got to kind of reset, haven't you? So.
And I think it was always, I think in my head was that no matter what, it's not the end of what I'm doing, because it just means I'll just revert back to what I was doing before, which worked perfectly fine. And I didn't intend to actually have a space. That happened by accident, sort of thing. So it wasn't that I wouldn't be able to do anything.
No, not at all. You can't be scared
if that was the case, and I had to, if that was my business from the start, that we had a venue and the venue was the business, then I think it would be very different. But looking back, I'm very glad, otherwise the gas bill would have been...
I know, things always happen for a reason. You obviously could see.
I would love to find out how much that gas bill would currently be if we were still in there.
I know. Wow. So, where are you now? What are you doing now?
Okay, so then during lockdown, obviously had to adapt quite a bit. So I just did a lot of stuff online for free.
Yeah.
And it was great because we
I
had
mean,
so
what
many
we
different.
can't do online, what we learned back then. I mean, everything we're online on there very quickly.
I mean, Zaya was 7 at that time, so he needed entertaining. So that was part of our homeschooling thing. Like, right, what should we do? Let's do a workshop on this book, and let's do a rave and this theme, and so we did loads of stuff online just for free. And then we did like quite a few birthday parties and stuff online, and then did a few other things online. And then as we were coming out of lockdown, a friend of mine, an old school friend, she managed a centre for young people with complex medical and behavioural needs. So they were aged 18 to 30. So she'd said, do you think that you could transfer what you do into our setting? And I was like, yeah, we've actually done stuff like that before. So we'd done it previously, pre-lockdown. And so I was like, yeah, we can do that. So I started going in, doing sessions there, and it was amazing.
Best thing ever.
Yeah, loved it. So we weren't able to work with children at the time or do any events at the time due to the restrictions. However, because that was a educational setting, and even when there was like lots of other restrictions in place, I was still able to go there. Had to wear a
big hazmat suit,
a face shield thing. I didn't know what any of the staff looked like because they were all wearing masks. Like I just knew them from their eyes, and if I see them with the mask on, I'd be like,
so that's what you look like. What were those sessions like? We've got I personally have got a real special interest in the world of SEND. You know, obviously my Tommy has got a disability, and as he's growing up, there is such a lack of events and wonderful spaces for people who are different, and it's hard as a family because you're seeing all your mainstream children doing your football clubs, this club, gym, everything and anything, and when your child's different it stings, and it's like, you know, where do they fit? So when you find a group like what you do that's accessible and free to all and caters for individuals rather than just one big blanket approach, it's really, really special. So I'm really interested to know what those sessions look like, because how lucky are you to be able to work with such special people?
I don't think you could ever do a session there and leave and have a bad day.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Like, it's myself and Holly who she's taken over since I've had my baby since, so she does all those sessions there, but I ask her like about them all the time, like how so and she's telling me all this stuff. We literally tear up like talking about it because we actually love them, like they're so amazing.
So much to bring to the table.
And just like the power of music and what we do, and just like good energy for anybody regardless of their abilities is just amazing to see.
You're making a difference.
And we can walk in and they'll be like, oh, and they've all got these certain songs that you know that if you play this song they're gonna go wild. They're going off. So there's one that sits, you know, she'll sit down, she won't join in at all, and you can put Spice Girls Spice Up Your Life on, and she is just amazing. A different person. But it was amazing. It was challenging because the sessions that I'd done previously had been with adults of all ages, and they had severe disabilities, so you'd rely on the staff a lot to,
of course,
and the staff at that particular setting weren't as into it, whereas this one they were into it, but then also we were working with younger adults, and some of them were like able to fully have conversations with you, tell you exactly what they want, and then others are like, what's going on, and you've got such a diverse mixture, but even it's just really powerful to see that a young person can't communicate with you in the normal way, but you can work out that they're into this
and draw out
through something And it could be as little as that they're moving their head or just anything, and it's just amazing. It's just a really, really great space to be working in, and from that, of like the staff work in other settings, and someone else would find out, oh, are you doing something here? And so we ended up doing like as a parent, as you were saying, you find it difficult for your son to find things for him to do, and there's a lot of parents that have set up their own little thing, so we've ended up doing a few bits and bats for them as well, which has been really nice, because then you see the familiar faces, but they all go to different things, and they travel far as well.
We will
we go wherever. But it's nice to engage with the parents as well, because I think during lockdown, when we were really getting into those sessions, we didn't have that. We weren't able to have a conversation with the parent, being like, okay, as a parent, what would you like to see? We just knew that people wanted something, but it's hard to sort of gauge that you get it right. But I just think if you go into something with an open mind and with good intentions of creating something good and positive and just going with the flow, that's what helps. Like a lot of people say, you're great, because a lot of people come in and they get stumped. They don't quite know how to engage if they're not joining in. So we can be in a room and no one's joining in, but we'll still carry on and work, and we'll be like, okay, we're not going to do that. Let's kind of back in, let's do this.
This is it. This is what stands out about you. You don't go in with a plan that at 10 o'clock we do this, and at 10:15 we're going to move on to this, and then we're going to hand wash, and then we're going to do this. You roll with it, and you cater for who's there at the time, so you can't have a good time. You can't have a good time with you guys. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Is there anything else you'd like to kind of share about the work? Anything, highlights from your career, anything that you've got coming up, things like that? Anything you'd like to say to any families that are thinking of accessing your groups?
Just don't be shy, but just get involved. Check out what we've got going on. We're trying now, obviously coming out of lockdown. I had a baby, so then everything has had to start back up again anyway, because we're coming out of lockdown, but then it's a bit slower because I've got a baby in tow, toddler in tow now. We've just started to come back out of Leeds and start to spread out a little bit. So we've got stuff going on in Wakefield and Bradford and Halifax and surrounding areas. So it's just sort of getting that back up and running again. And last school holidays, my friend's daughter, she was like, could you do something for older kids but Wednesday Addams themed? And I was like, okay. So we did that. So even just suggestions, so if people say to me, oh, do you think that you could do this but for this? And I'm always up for ideas. So if any I like to get creative with what we do. Like, it's never set in stone. We're not always at this place at this time and this is what's going on. We try to mix things up and make it accessible to as many people as possible. So if anybody has any ideas of what they would like to see, we're always open to that as well. We're doing baby spa events now as well, which have been really popular. And just check out the website boomchikkaboom.com and see what we've got going on.
Amazing. And where can we find you on social?
So Instagram, Twitter and Facebook are all Boomchikkaboom.
Boomchikkaboom, find you there. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your journey with us. It's I absolutely love the work that you do. It's great to see somebody so innovative and different, and the energy that you bring to what you do. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all soon.